And we're live.
Says you, man.
Yes, I was watching.
How dare you? No wonder your bandwidth's so crazy. Hey, beautiful people. What's going on?
Hey, everyone.
It's just
Wednesday.
Steve.
Oh, wait, wrong show.
No, it is Wednesday. Right show.
Yes, it is. Tweet is out. Yay.
We're going to do a little bit of a pre-show. Kind of run through it today. Not a big, massive week, but we did manage to find a few things that piqued our interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not one of those weeks where there's a bunch of just links in the show that's like, wow,
Yeah.
okay. I was going to add that story and that story, but someone beat me to it.
It's always fun to watch you do like a panic post on like Tuesday afternoon. Pedro logging in and just like, what? Oh, Vince's been busy.
Look, I'm at work and the Google Drive doesn't open half the time because it's limited, like during peak hours you can't open it. So if you already have a document open, that'll load just fine. But if you don't, you can't.
Likely story.
And yeah, it's so I'll usually, if I find something, I'll save it, and then I get home and I go to post it, it's like, oh, okay, cool.
I'm going to go walk all the way to the front of the house and open the door
Okay.
and see if there's a package there.
Okay.
Okay.
That or I'm
Did
gonna
you hear
flush.
the van drive away?
No, I got the text alerts.
Ah, yes.
They're like, yo, your package has been delivered. This will be like the one day in forever after like days of leaving stuff outside. Walking by it. Have you ever done that after like 2 or 3? I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
better take that in. Must not have been terribly important, but we ordered something apparently from AliExpress probably 4 months ago. Let's go see what this is.
I don't think I've ever let it go a day. I've let it go a few hours because I'll get home, just do my thing, and then I'll be checking through my emails like, oh, it's been delivered. And I see a picture of where it's been delivered. It's like, okay, there it is. Cool.
Yes. I love Amazon for that. It's awesome. Hey, Arthurine. Hi, Matthew.
Hello, everyone.
G2 chairquisitional.
That's a Twitch emoji, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hello, Texaramus. Tell you a story. What's the biggest difference with living
Hi,
in the
Linda.
UK versus Portugal? I speak a different language when I go outside. That's about it. Oh, and Amazon. Amazon's pretty fast.
Yeah.
I don't have to wait like at least 3 days for it to be delivered somewhere from Spain to Portugal. The depot is actually up in Petersburg, which, I don't know, 30 kilometers, like 16 or 17 miles up from where I live, so yeah. Hello, Linda.
Yay, Linda. So how's your packing going? That's always fun. Oh.
Yeah, no, see, I'm the one who cooks. And that wasn't just a Heisenberg reference. I am the one who cooks. Oh, the other fun part.
Oh, but that's great, Linda. You got done early, and so now you have time to really make the place look perfect, so you won't have to pay anything. Make sure there's no holes in the walls.
That's the thing. When I move out of here, the according to the real estate person, yeah, the landlord didn't want to do an inventory, so just take care of the place. Oh, good.
That's nice. That makes life a lot
Because
easier.
I was going to ask, so am I expected to cover up the holes on that wall over there? No? Okay.
Very nice.
Because there's clearly someone hung a bunch of stuff on that wall over there, and there's a few holes.
Yeah, I know. I was helping when my brother was moving from apartment to apartment. I would help him so they could get it done and nice and clean, so he could keep his down payment. Was it? Yeah, the
Deposit.
Security deposit.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will give back the security deposit if somebody. It's all about trying, man.
Someone
Yeah.
tried.
If they tried, if they didn't nail it, even if I got to come in, clean some stuff up, but you could tell that it's like, this is the best I was capable of.
I think I will
It's
use
okay,
the
little buddy. You
restroom real
tried.
quick, and I will be right back.
Trying means the world
Yes.
to me, man. The one thing I'm definitely not down with is like, I didn't do anything all out of ideas. That doesn't work.
I got a partial rebalance on my deposit from the last place because they had fucking carpet and we didn't clean the carpet. I mean, we actually tried to clean the carpet, but it's very hard after like a year and something. Ooh, modem.
It's DOCSIS 3.1 technology, baby. That's how you know it's stupid
Yeah.
expensive, because it's like got the gold thing right here. It looks exact same, except it's got like the silver gold thing. I'm undercolored lights, man. I'm taking a guess at what color that reflective part is.
Yeah. See, carpet's horrible, Linda. Carpet's just horrible.
No carpet.
Speaking of, this place, like this apartment has no carpet, which is awesome, which is part of the reason why I went like, oh yeah, we're moving here, like right now.
Dude, it's awesome, man. I can vacuum my whole house with a Swiffer in like 30 minutes.
Yep. And
And
now,
I can be highly
outside,
irresponsible about it. I can like have socks on. I learned that. I learned that lesson usually in the wintertime, right at the beginning, because I start sliding around the house and I almost like wreck myself going around the corner. I'm like, yes, put on slippers.
yes.
Because it
But
all
yeah, no,
starts out as a little
outside
slide.
now, outside now, they're actually carpeting the rest of the building. It's like, there was no carpet out there. It was fine. Now you've carpeted the whole thing. Why? Why? Well, by all means, like, buy some carpet to hang behind you and to line the walls around you, but not on the floor.
Yeah, I got my AMD thing.
Oh.
If you've purchased an AMD FX 8120 High, you may be part of it, which I clearly am part of the class action lawsuit.
So, do you get to claim those, what was it, $30?
I have no idea. I mean, it gave me like a code thing to put it in. I was like, yo, you qualify. Normally, like, I bought the 8120. I knew exactly what it was. I was like, yes, I need you to do a thing, you know, and it did the thing very well. But
Yeah.
yeah, AMD's already subbed this thing, man. I'm just trying to get my chat up. Yep, my $30 that I might. What do you think? $30 or fiber? Which one's going to come in first? I'd bet on the fiber.
See, right now, AMD has the money to spare, and they're probably very much looking forward to, let's just pay everyone as quickly as possible. Like,
Well, this has got to get it out of the way, man. And, you know, it's cheaper to... That's usually the thing with class actions. It's just cheaper to pay it off than to even bother, even if you're in the wrong, right? Like, I think it's a
the only
frivolous
people
lawsuit.
making money, people making money out of
Lawyers.
those lawsuits are the lawyers.
Yeah, carpet. Yeah, I mean it kills sound reflection. I mean it helps. I'm not gonna say it kills, but it also collects skin.
It collects everything. You want to find the cure for some disease from like 50 years ago? Go find an old house that still has carpet from that time. You'll find a virus.
I mean, I might possibly make an exception for like that puke green 70s shag carpet. I'd be down with that, but like only a little patch, you know, where I could put on like my like sports suit and like stand on and be like, yeah, 70s, and like then put it back in the closet, you know. Says the guy wearing a polyester shirt right now.
I mean, this hoodie is mostly polyester too. It's like
Sweetheart.
60-40.
This is shiny, reflective. Like you watch this shirt by like rinsing it off under the sink. You're like, it's good.
Okay. Yeah, 5700 XT is finally AMD created a video card that can soundly compete with the 1080 Ti. How long ago did the 1080 Ti come out? 3 years? 4 years?
Roughly, man.
Yeah.
It's been at least 3 years, but I mean,
They can finally compete. Now I hope they continue that thing about competing, and they actually release something more towards the lower end, as well as, you know, the super high end to compete with the 1080 Ti. That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
we'll see. I mean, the Ryzen 4000 series, this is gonna be interesting. The APUs, what we get out of that.
Oh yeah, the full-on 7nm APUs, like the 4000 series APUs. Those are going to be the good ones.
Well, we're supposed to see those at the end of this year, so
Yeah. And they do say that the Ryzen 4000s and Zen 3 will be out early 2020. So...
dual WAN. Load balancing. This is all that's going through my head right now. My brain is like, you're gonna make me learn all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, buddy. Don't worry, we'll forget it in a week though, but we gotta learn it for a minute.
I mean, I can do like the Cisco stuff. I will have to look up the syntax for some specific things, but for like the taking down a port, bringing it back up, adding it to a certain VLAN, yeah, I can do that off the top of my head.
Yeah, this is definitely, fortunately, it's going to be very much Stack Exchange programming this thing, because I can find the chunks. Yep. I just got to learn how to alter the chunks so I can paste it into the console and get it to do its thing.
Okay, give me a moment. I need another drink.
Okay. Yeah, Matthew, I guess they changed the subject.
I think you're going to upgrade to a second-gen Threadripper, or are you going... No. The 1920X is perfect for what we're doing. The What I'm hoping for is like the
Give me a sec.
2920's already dropped to just over $300, but I think a bit of patience, the 2950 will get down to right at $300. Then the only reason I would be going to second gen so I can get a little bit better gaming performance, because let's be honest, what a 1920X is 2 Ryzen 7s, 1600s glued together.
Yes. And yeah, Matthew, we have a story with that as well, so to be continued.
Strider only uses integrated graphics. Discrete GPUs are too mainstream. When Intel releases a discrete GPU, he's going to start using Matrox.
Ah, yes.
Now, Threadrippers are absolutely stupid to buy for gaming. I blame the motherboard manufacturers, because good luck trying to find one. My motherboard has analog and digital RGB headers on it because it's gaming, guys. And I'm like, no, dude, you took a workstation motherboard and you slapped some RGBs on it, bruh. No. And no one bought them for gaming, fortunately. I mean, I'm sure like 3 people did, but that's their own fault. Thought it'd get up to like 20 degrees today. Yeah, it's 20 right now.
Single digits, baby.
Yeah, Mir, I actually have a flu, so, but it's...
A flu?
Yeah.
By the acknowledgement that you have a flu leads me to believe that you're familiar with it, like it as opposed to the flu.
The flu, yes. Very true.
Did you have like
technically a string of the influenza virus, right?
a special flu? This is not the flu. No, that's just too regular. I have it's the A flu or B flu.
Yeah, so last week it was respiratory from the fires, and this week it's coming out both ends. So
why don't you just Jill? Why don't you get Steve to make you a bubble?
Oh God, that's disgusting.
I don't know what you think a bubble is, but okay.
Bubble means I'm trapped with all the stuff.
You are. You're in the room right now. He's just gonna wrap some cellophane around it. I mean, yeah, I think we. Hey, Pulse Audio, don't die in a fire on me again, and we'll be best friends.
It works fine. It's when you're plugging or unplugging an audio device and there's already audio coming in. That's when it throws a fit.
Well, my classic thing is I have a mixture of Pulse Audio and jack running in a bridge. And Pulse Audio, I was like, okay, let's take down the jack interface. This is like right before the show. I'm like, that's cool. Pulse Audio. Hey, Pulse Audio. Okay. It's like, peace out. Okay, Pulse Audio, capital D. Nope. Like, okay. Sir, CT Alpha. But at this point, I just like, you know what? Let's just cut our losses.
Yeah, usually a reboot fixes it.
The me in me wants to troubleshoot that. It's like, to the Google. It's like, no, just restart.
Steve has spin. 360 toilet. Oh my, I could have used that yesterday. Yes.
That was a couple of nights ago. I woke up not entirely sure of what the heck my body was doing, but it was going places. So I kind of let it go places, and I found myself sitting on the toilet. It's like, okay, apparently we're doing this.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, I better not say that. I actually did make
How
it to the
about we
toilet
don't?
yesterday. I know, embarrassing.
All
No,
right.
it's like you're still asleep and your body just goes, all right, we're doing something. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh.
I think we are ready to go.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, hello, Tweet Deck.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Give me a minute. I'm setting things up.
Oh, good. Okay. There, I see us. Okay.
Oh, hello, VLC. Ah.
Anyone who has a stack of things in OBS knows you'll eventually find the right window.
That's the streaming scene. I have the streaming scene, and it's got everything.
Yeah. And you'd believe it too, right, Matthew? You're like, oh, it's doing the thing. And
Yeah. It's spinning around.
I've seen some people really patiently wait on Windows to do a thing. I'm like, you know it's
Yeah.
not doing anything, Ryan.
Yeah.
It's been stuck there for 5 minutes, but it says it's still doing a thing. It isn't.
Do you get anything bandwidth intensive running at all, Pedro?
No.
All right.
And I have Discord, Jitsi, Vivaldi for the notes, and Firefox. That's it. Show me the network.
How ist ein Network?
Well, it is like prime time in the UK, so there's a lot of people home.
Fix that.
Yeah, if I find the fire alarm and I get everyone to evacuate, I'll have to evacuate too.
Copy. All right. Let's go.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Locked and loaded. Coming at you live in 3,
Mm-hmm.
2. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we can sit back, relax, take that midweek break, and just talk about some of the things that we found personally going on in the world of Linux. Found them entertaining. We hope you find them entertaining as well. I am Vin. That is Joe Bryant, and the man on the far right there is one Pedro Mateus, and everyone joining us live. How's everybody doing? Everybody having a good time? Good day?
Yes.
Good afternoon?
Yes.
Good evening?
Yes.
It was a chilly day, which was really nice because everyone in the office cranked up the heaters, and I went outside. It's like, so good.
Oh.
Oh, have they finally? You're in the single digits. It's like no more window for you.
Yep. Pretty much, I'm at the point where you can't open the window. It's everyone in the office like bundles up next to me. It's like,
Aw. Well, Jill, you're living in a place where it just stays the same temperature year round, so we're not worried about the weather. What's new there?
Well, it was a good morning, but I did fire up the heater a little bit. I always do this time of year because it gets damp overnight, so it cleans out the dampness. The little nip. So, but yeah, so I have something cool in the world of Linux happening next week, but I'm not going to announce it yet till next week. So that'll be fun.
you giant tease.
Yeah.
Oh man! So I'm just full of, this is my dread face. Like legit.
Oh, hello, Keanu Reeves. How are you?
Oh, that was great. Yes.
Dude, I got some advanced network equipment incoming, and it's smarter than I am. I'm genuinely not looking forward to it. It's one of those purchases where I was genuinely going, why am I doing this to myself? But it's going to help sort some things here, which turns out is really going to help sort some things, because I got some interesting news this morning when I was like, what's the racket and the fuss outside? Well, it turns out one of the additional things I've done is, we got some of that hot DOCSIS 3.1 action coming on the network, hopefully later this afternoon. And we were joking around lovingly, Jordan and I. It's like, well, he's like, hey man, we've been having some connection issues. It's like, well, I could get like the latest and greatest modem and all that. And it's like, well, you know what happened if you do that. I'm like, yeah, but wouldn't do it for me, but we do it for the show because we don't need dropouts when we're live or anything like that. So that showed up today, but this morning, to get back to that, yeah, AT&T was dragging their Happy Fiber trucks and putting them outside and lining that
Yay.
up. So I still see this as a win. Question.
Yep.
I mean, it's there now. Whether or not you can
two.
use it, something else entirely, but it's there now.
Hopefully before the eventual heat death of the universe, because
Yes.
you do read the horror stories of like, yes, they did that. I immediately went to the internet and I'm like, hey, yeah, they did that a few years back. It's still sitting there. All right. So let's get right into it this week.
Yeah.
He says, XPS 13 Developer Edition portfolio up to 8 times in the States, 6 core and more. Just good news. This is from Barton's blog. And most, but not all of these are just new models that are going to be available, not just in the States, but to our brothers and sisters in Canada land and EU. One thing I saw that some of these new models no longer, it might be a sad day, they're no longer equipped with nose cam. Boo. So
No.
Yeah.
The 9370 and the 9380 have the camera like on the teeny tiny bit of the bezel at the top.
yeah, I mean, keep that in mind. I mean, if you're a fan of having, any type of video conferencing going straight up your nostrils, these new XPSs will not provide that feature. But they're going to be shipping with Ubuntu 18.04 LTS, which makes perfect sense to me, but only up to 16 gigabytes of memory RAM. And I think that's especially a little bit on the low side, because at the end of the day, what's that? Like 3 Electron apps? I mean,
On a lucky day, yes. Yeah, the one thing that the new XPSs also have is no Type A USB ports. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about picking one up. It's all Type C all the time. And one of the things I tried, because he posted a link to the all of the options you can have if you're trying to configure an XPS for yourself. And okay, so the i5 model, that it's a quad core 8 thread, and the i7 is the same thing with the 10 series CPUs. And 16 gigs of RAM, and wait, it said plus $100. Why is it $250 more expensive? Oh, it changed to the i7. Why can't I have the i5 with 16 gigs of RAM, Dell? That seems like a pretty arbitrary limitation, if for being honest. I mean, it's glaringly obvious that you're doing that for the money, but come on.
You got to think about that, though, man. It's not like you can go over 16 on any model. That just seems like a weird limitation for a laptop and coming up on 2020, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
32
laptop
is
SO
kinda standard
DIMMs,
now.
yeah. Laptop SO DIMM slots, most of them seem to be pretty limited, and all they take is like 8 gig. Unless you have a really high-end laptop, at which point they'll take 16 gig DIMMs. But yeah, it's been a thing since DDR3, and I guess it's cheaper to make them that way.
Yeah, and what was really cool was Barton George was talking about how Project Sputnik is almost 7 years old. That's that's amazing. The original XPS 13 system came with Ubuntu 12.04 LTS. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been that long ago.
There's still
And those
plenty of
original
systems,
XPSs are like the second-hand ones
Yeah.
are still very expensive.
Yeah, they are.
It's always good to have, and just good on Dell for continuing with our Linux support and expanding it. So,
Yes.
very happy about that. Your favorite desktop and soon to be your best favorite distribution, kind of, because somehow KDE is not a distribution, but it is.
It is. I mean, it's technically based on 1804, but KDE Neon is its own thing very much. And, well, the fine folks at KDE they have been trying to improve things because I guess they are aware that things don't work very well in some aspects of KDE, and they're doing something to fix it. And we talked about them focusing on 3 new things to try and fix. And one of those things was consistency. And part of that new focus on consistency, they're changing the highlight bar, which is that little blue highlight that you can see there. And now it will look the same no matter where you are. It'll be the semi-transparent version, so that will be unified. That they've pretty much decided on, and they're going to be implementing it. The other thing that they're trying to focus on with this is the navigation bars down the side. You have the little icons down the side to indicate the different tabs, like the settings, for instance, or if you have actual tabs in a terminal or something. Well, they want to unify everything to make sure that everything has a consistent look and that the icons all look similar if they are supposed to be for similar menus and to do similar things. Then they need to work on that. They're still taking in suggestions for that, so they haven't reached a consensus on what those sidebars should look like, but they are working on it. That seems a bit, I don't know, superfluous to be working on that when there are some far more glaring issues with KDE itself right now, but hey,
what are you talking about? I mean, it could be like the GNOME project, but hey, they're working on. It's something I honestly, to be honest, I don't care. I use XFCE, man. There was a post earlier about XFCE. It's like, this new dark theme for 14 is really coming along. And it's like, how does it work with Thunder Chicken? And it's like, yeah, it looks diseased too. Yeah, that's my problem with dark themes.
Yeah.
Jill, do you pay attention to any consistency type things? I've come through, you think early days of using GTK versus QTFs, man. There were some radically different looking applications you could have open at one time. Oh, TK.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was another one. Yeah.
Looking at your Netscape Navigator.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really, I'm with Ben. I don't really so much care about the consistency of the desktop because I usually theme them myself anyways. But for KDE, it really needed that to, also be competitive with GNOME in that area because GNOME is, definitely unifying their interface as well. So it's definitely needed.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Up next. Oh, right. Remember how we were talking about how great it was that the media sharing worked out of the box with the latest Ubuntu? Well, it turns out it worked out just a little bit too well.
Yeah. So yeah, the Ubuntu 1910 DNLA media server we talked about last week wasn't completely baked yet and has a major bug. It could be automatically sharing the contents of your pictures, videos, and music folders with other users on the same network, even if media sharing is turned off. Ooh, not good. So the Rigel media server, which is supposed to be disabled by default, auto starts on login. And on the computer last week I was doing a test on was a laptop, and I sudo apt-get removed Rigel on my Ubuntu 1910 test machine just to make sure the folders aren't visible by default. So that's something that you can do. And there's also, of course, they're working on fixing this, so a full fix will be out soon. And for me, this was actually very important to fix because I use other window managers. Usually I don't use GNOME. And so because this was auto starting, it didn't matter what window manager or desktop environment you were using, it would auto start and share. So I just went ahead and uninstalled it. And and it actually, it didn't really matter too much because me and Steve husband are the only ones who share the network in this house, and he wouldn't even notice anyways.
Ooh, shade. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I'm just gonna say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the magical world of Just Works, because you.
Yes.
This is something we're definitely going to be jamming with. To my brothers and sisters out there on university campuses. Get snooping, though, you know what I'm saying, right?
Oh, yeah. If you see someone with that purple and orange background, you fire up whatever internet thing you have going on, and you go looking.
Yeah.
But, I mean, hey, man, this is one of the beautiful things about Linux. Oh, there's UNCUT from Orbit, and you don't have, like, are there any parts of it lingering around in this? Nope.
Yep. And that is the one thing you can do right now. It's just, the only way to get it to not auto start is to remove it. Yeah. Seems a bit nuclear, but okay.
Let's be fair. I mean, with like 1804 is not bad, but there's definitely a list of things with the recent Ubuntu's that I would have in my launching of let's remove this.
Yeah.
With this bit of a screw up, hopefully not a whole lot of people use the interim releases and they stick to the LTSs, because that's not good.
6 reasons why developers choose Ubuntu Desktop. It's not because of what we just got done talking about. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
No, that is most certainly not a reason. So, Mark Shuttlesworth actually wrote a white paper, and you just have to give him your name, first name, last name, work email, company name, job title, phone number. 012345 works if you're wondering. And you read it and you go through it, and I have the PDF if anyone is interested. I'll send it to you. And one of the reasons that he listed as to why Ubuntu is so popular with developers was snaps. Really? Snaps, from what I can tell, they're not very popular. The general opinion on the internet seems to be that app images are like the darlings of most people who are actually putting software out there.
Whatever.
Snaps.
With your app, Team Flatpak.
I like Flatpaks too.
This is Linux, but baby, we got to pick a team and stick with it for no reason whatsoever. Come on. Let's do it.
I'm team anti-snap very much. And the only ones pushing snaps are Canonical and Ubuntu employees. So,
well, that would make sense since they were the ones that brought it into existence. I mean, listen, man, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I see a connection.
But they're the only ones. That's the thing. Because even
wait a minute. Hear me out though. But now I think there might be another connection with the guy who created the company.
I'm just saying that him including this as one of the reasons that Ubuntu is so popular with developers, it's tooting one's own horn.
I'm just saying, man, like your red wall chart of red yarn is boring, okay?
There is no yarn. It's like you're tooting your own horn. That's it.
Well, if I say so myself, man. What are your thoughts on this, Stu?
So snaps aside, ever since Canonical CEO Mark Shuttleworth announced last May that there has been an increase in support contracts for Ubuntu Desktop for AI development and engineering, I have actually seen an increase in their desktop marketing. This is wonderful, to me, for the growth of the Linux desktop, and shows that Canonical is putting much more money and emphasis on the desktop. And as we've talked about this before on LWDW, that one of the key factors needed for the growth of the Linux desktop is to put money into its marketing. So like that of Google with Chrome OS. So having a white paper titled 6 Reasons Why Developers Choose Ubuntu Desktop proves this. And it's only going to help with the growth of the desktop. And that's something we definitely need.
Oh, I get the business side of why they did it.
Business side or not, man. Ubuntu's been around for the long year. And it's legitimately, if somebody's like, what should I target? Guess what I'm going to tell them? Ubuntu. Why? It's a known quantity. You know what you're going to get. And most importantly, we know how to back engineers. Like, oh, it works on Ubuntu? Okay, I know what I need to do. Get it to work on X, Y, or Z. That's another reason. And, developer, I mean, they're seeing most of their growth in the cloud market. I hate using that term, but hey, that's what they said, the cloud. And again, on server side, you can make that argument for snaps. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But on the desktop, I'm just not feeling it yet. Changed my mind. AMD, good news, everyone. Speculate.
The mainstream media has once again paid attention to a kernel update.
Dude. Navi Light drivers have been spotted in the wild. WCCF Tech, so spin the wheel, a bugger on this. They were spotted in a Linux driver update. And not just your regular run-of-the-mill Navi. No, this was Navi Light. So, yeah, this just kind of showed up. And there it is. Look, ADDR Navi 23 build. What is it? I don't know. What I want is something that will give NVIDIA a run for their money on the top end. This is probably not going to be it, but there it is. Chip HDR Navi 21 Lite. Pedro, is this going to be a fast one or a slow one? A desktop part? Is it going to be made entirely of cheese?
It could be made of cheese for what we know at this point, but it is... if you join these bits of information with the rumors that have been going on, apparently AMD is going to be releasing 2 new targets for their desktop GPUs. One on the lower end to compete with like the 1650, 1660, so on and so forth, and on the high end to compete with the 2080 Ti. And because right now they have a very good mid-range. The 5700 and the 5700 XT have been, I think, it's been longer than that. It's been longer than 5 years. It's been a long time since AMD was competitive at like the medium to high end of the desktop GPUs, and the 5700s actually do a very good job of it. So I am curious to see if they have something like for the low end that will completely destroy the 1650 and doesn't require an extra PCIe power connector. That's what I want to see.
Okay, and
Very
made
good.
of cheese. Say what you say about the 5700 and the XTs. They can't print them fast. That's how you make video
No.
games. You have to print them on inkjets. That's how it works. But that good or bad, they can't keep them in stock, and I think that's brilliant. Now that they're, even this is the new RDNA 2 type stuff, but the roadmap for Ryzen's kind of taped out and all that. So do you think they're going to be able to shift some of that money over there for the Radiant Technologies?
I really hope so. I really hope so, because right now AMD has the money to take some of that income from the CPU side and invest in the Radeon Technologies group, which has been a bit lacking in the past few years.
I think for me is I would like to, I know it's not going to happen, but a boy can still wish is they'll do some work on their video encoding engine, because
yeah, that needs all the work.
That's how you sell me. That is it. It's rubbish right now. It's poorly documented too. After the, I'll spare you that rabbit hole. And that's how NVIDIA sells me a card now.
Yep.
It's like when they come up with Ampere, they're like, it can do backflips now. And I'm like, geez, all right, fine, I'll buy another one. It's kind of brilliant. So I know we've all been stuck in a situation that where bandwidth was like a legit concern. Either you just had poor connectivity, or you had like 500K left on your account before
your
you,
allowance.
before you got throttled more. This might help you out with it.
Yeah, and it will actually very much help. This is WebSnapper, developed by Phil294, and it's available on GitHub. And what it does is exactly what it says on the tin. It strips out anything that is considered superfluous, and all it gives you is basic text with some hyperlinks for whatever URLs happen to be embedded in the text. And you can set the... you can run the server locally. There's a Docker image. It's actually pretty easy to run it. He gives you everything you need to know. And then you get the most basic of web experiences. One thing that I very much appreciated was if you scroll all the way down, there's a section called Enable JavaScript. For JavaScript to work, remove this line, and there's a hyperlink there. You click on it, and it points you exactly at the line that you need to comment out or to change the value to. Oh, you actually.
Yeah, that's what I did to test it. I used linuxgamecast.com.
That's what linuxgamecast.com looks like when run through WebSnapper.
Barely tell.
Yes. Yeah, and it's like e-links or links for modern browsers. It's like running console web browsers. But that's awesome because there's time when you have very little bandwidth, and that'll come in handy.
I mean, those days are long since gone, but when I see something like that, I'm not immediately shocked because I remember, dial-up days. Yes, get off my lawn time. Is having images disabled was absolutely something you did, and JavaScript really wasn't a thing back then. So I'm like, yeah.
Well, so there's still places in the US that are using dial-up. So this could be beneficial for them.
Could be.
It could be. Yeah.
Yep.
But maybe the dial-up lines will go down and it'll be the end of civilization as we know it. And we'll need an operating system to help us return to mediocrity as a humanity. I really don't know where I'd go with that, man. Well, CollapseOS, something we've talked about in our Discord before, but this is for when the fecal matter hits the rotating device, which is not a band name, unfortunately. So what will CollapseOS help you do? It's designed to run on minimal, improvised machines, interface through improvised means, serial keyboard display. You can edit text files, compile assembler source with a wide range of MCUs and CPUs, read and write from a wide range of storage devices. And it self-replicates. All right, brother, you tried to make me do Skynet. No.
Yeah, Skynet on a Mega Drive.
So this is kind of like laser aimed at the Z80, though, isn't it? And it's like, that was introduced to compete with Intel's 8080 but way back when. But I guess the author of this is like, it's plentiful, and it's something that's probably still stamped out today in some shape, form, or fashion. What are our thoughts on this, Pedro?
Well, a thing about CollapseOS and the way that the article not so much, but the way the author of CollapseOS describes it, it requires a very specific kind of disruption. And I know Jordan brought up this point, but yeah, it is very specific. Yes, we maybe had it down that particular path, especially with the trade wars going on in between the US and China. Most of our electronics are made in China, so if you cut the US out of it, a lot of tech companies are based in the US, so all of a sudden there's a bit of friction there, and I can see the motivation behind creating something like this, but it's still very unlikely to happen in a way that would make the Z80s, of all processors, the best viable option. Okay, Mega Drives, they're still being stamped out. If you want to move the major computational production from China to Brazil, that's a very good way to do it.
Yeah, and I agree with Pedro. As much as I have nerd rage for the 780 chipset, I think i386 or newer might be the better option because they are just so much more plentiful. But when the zombie apocalypse comes, I will be prepared because I have every computer part and chipset represented in my computer collection, including a trashy 80 and a ZX Spectrum.
Yeah. Well, we get a zombie apocalypse, man. There's a lot of people not going to be useful anymore.
Yeah.
That it just really reminds me of I love stuff intellectually, I like stuff like this, but I argued with a law professor once time because I pick arguments with law professors. It's like, he had a thing. He's like, if you're going to be doing your research, you have to go to the law library. And that's a ginormous pita, man, as opposed to just pulling it up online through the system designed to do that. There's 3 systems to do it when you're in law school. And it's like, why are you making them do that? It's like, what if the internet goes down? It's like, listen, man, call me crazy, but I think if the internet goes down, the world's got bigger problems. When that happens, technology law probably not going to be a big factor in Mad Max world, because that's
No.
like 30 minutes after that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, the moment the internet goes down, law goes out the window.
I know that sounds weird. You know, if you would have said that a decade ago, I'd be like, you're being a little silly. But the longer that progresses, you think about all of your financial transactions, you can't buy anything.
Everything.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
It's going to be a thing, man. I'll be in here by myself. I'm like, hey, hello. I'll get, we can go cartman. I can get like a little Clyde Frog.
You
Yeah.
get yourself an IRL plank.
It'd be great, man. We'll just mix genres.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I actually do think we really seriously do need to think about this. It is, important for us here on Earth and the future of the human race. You never know what's going to happen. And we do have projects like the Forever Clock. That's amazing. That will last for thousands of years. And why not an OS? So,
Well, if you're
Okay,
looking
by
for
all
something
means,
like,
create an OS for something like that, but
But
this
use a
one,
different
this one
chipset,
is
yeah.
very
it
specific.
could be different.
yes.
I
Yeah.
think, I was looking at it just numbers wise. Android is probably your best bet, because you think about how many hundreds of millions of Android devices will just always
Yeah.
exist.
Good
Go look in a few
idea,
drawers in your
yeah.
house. You probably have 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like future building and stuff like that, I remember watching a documentary where they were trying to design a radiation warning sign for people 10,000 years in the future, because they're like,
Yeah.
this waste is still going to be there when somebody runs across this. Is the skull and crossbones? What's that going to communicate in 10,000 years? Like, it might not. So that's a very interesting intellectual
yeah. Yeah.
thought experiment to just kind of roll through. But yeah, when you go Mad Max, man, all this is just let it go. So yeah,
Yeah.
get the
Yeah,
chainsaw.
Like Steve Husband was saying, the Long Now Foundation. That's really fascinating what they're doing with the Forever Clock and some other projects. It's really amazing.
OpenSource.com had a little article about 6 remarkable features of the new United Nations.
Yeah. So, I put this article in the show notes. This is just amazing. The United Nations is going open source. And this is just so wonderful. And I wanted to really happen. They're still in talks about it, and nothing has been written yet, but they've already gone a long way to secure using open source software. So 3 months ago, the United Nations created a new advisory board to help them develop their open source strategy and policy. And open source software aligns with the UN's core values to make technology, software, and intellectual property available to everyone, including developing and third world countries. And the United Nations formed the United Nations Technology Innovation Labs just for this purpose. And an article
Until
they-
work that into a sentence.
yeah, that's why I just I spelled it out because until. So and there were 6 key reasons why the UN wants to utilize open source software: the ability to share, the ability to contribute, empower, sustainability, security, and decentralization. And as all of us know in the open source world, this is one of the reasons why, many reasons why we love open source. So this makes sense that it aligns with their values. So
Yeah,
really
it
awesome.
makes a lot of sense. I, for one, hope that they're doing more than the bare minimum of just putting together, a little advisory group and say, yeah, look at us. We care about open source. We're paying those 6 people to sit in an office and tinker around with stuff as we get business done. And we just tick that box. Because that's what it's looking like right now.
How
I
dare
hope I'm
you
wrong.
accuse the
I hope
United
I'm wrong.
Nations of being an ineffectual thing that it's always been?
Yeah.
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 There's that. Anyway, it's the thought that counts, and I think that's really neat. But yeah, one thing Linux needs is a new web browser, and Microsoft's determined to give it to us.
Yeah.
See, I took a lot of curse words and rephrased them into what I just said.
Yes, you did. So, Microsoft's Chromium-based Edge browser is indeed officially coming to Linux very soon, and it was just announced at their Ignite 2019 conference in Orlando. And, last month we had talked about Edge coming to Linux, and Microsoft developers asked the community to take a short web development on Linux survey that asked everything from what distro you use for web development and testing to what you use web browsers on Linux for. And obviously the results of the survey must have been well enough that Microsoft felt that developers would like it for testing on Linux and that users would use it.
Well, I mean, I don't even think Microsoft, when we all saw that, we were like, it's going to take them a minute, but, they just might be able to find a way to make Chromium not work on Linux.
And even if they had tried that, I know for a fact that the community being, the community would have figured out a way to take the Microsoft stuff and just put it into regular Chromium just to see.
Yes.
And there would be an official fork of the new Chromium-based Edge browser. But no, I don't think anyone at this point had any doubts that this was coming. And if you specifically did, you haven't been watching the show.
Yeah,
just saying.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just the last bit. It takes a while to build your own telemetry BS on top of the Blink engine. So if you strip out all of the Google stuff, you then have to build your own. So I'm guessing that's what's taking the longest.
Listen, man, you want me to use Linux, but I'm lonely. I don't feel like I'm being tracked properly by my operating system. So at least let me have this on Linux.
Yeah.
Android.
I'll feel more at home. No, but it needs to be Microsoft. We can't get Windows users to come over like cold turkey. They're like, but I'm not being tracked enough.
Yeah, I don't think Edge is going to be the killer feature to bring Windows users to Linux.
Listen, man, it's their comfort browser.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm probably not the best person to get converts over, but hey, that's a story for another time. We're about to jump into that. Little bit of shameless self-promotion. If you want to support what we do each and every week, 4 or 5 days a week, it's kind of brilliant. You can do that by heading over to linuxgamecast.com. We got a support thingy mousy over button, maybe?
Yes,
we have Patreon,
I like the
we
technical
have LibrePay,
language.
We have merch, we got PayPal, Wishlist, Magic, Internet Money. All of you are kicking in to help make this weird little experiment possible. It helps us pay for the show, bandwidth, and new stuff to bring you better and bigger, awesome sauce. Jill, we got some returning Patreons this week.
Yes, we do. Admiral JT, who we've known for a very long time. Jonas. And Linux Gnuru, although he wasn't gone very, he just switched to a different tier.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
I still wonder which of the Jonas brothers Jonas is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was logged into Cloudflare. It might have been earlier well, it probably was this morning. I don't sleep. Cutting them their cheddar check. And I'm like, here, have some cash on us. And they were showing the geo map. And there was one person from Tanzania. And my only thought was, found your laptop, bro.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, dude, we do have a couple of things set up on top of that. If you're ever curious about what we run here, this amalgam, this nightmare train that I've stuck together to broadcast all on Linux on all ends, you can check out our little Amazon store page thingy, more technical terms. That's covering all the displays, PC hardware, video, audio, lighting, storage, even down to electric and networking, which I'm going to have to update, probably with do not buy, but everything there has been tested, is working in here. There's no guessing, because a lot of that stuff I picked up going, let's find out. Amazon's really good about that, though, so if it doesn't work out, you can ship it back to them. Oh, we got affiliate links and stuff like that. So if you want to go check those out, if you're curious about things we're planning on buying, you're like, don't buy that. That's a stupid thing. You can check out our studio wish list. This is stuff that's going to happen new series coming up about some high-end podcasting and all that stuff. Just, yeah, really expensive stuff. Let's not look at that page right now. I don't.
That is the page of one day.
That's the page of okay. You want to help out with that, you end up on Frank's wall, naming the credits, all that beautiful stuff. Thanks each and every one of you for making this possible.
Aww.
Keep being sexy. You know you.
Yeah, we love you.
So, 'tis the season. I was going to put a Rick and Morty picture, but that's something else that happens. November is pies covered in whipped cream, cut poorly.
Yes.
I appreciate the whipped cream. I'm a big fan. But, well, if you want to be very, very disappointed in your life investments and you want, say, a bit of a display with a ticker that shows exactly
Why would you
how
do
much
this to yourself?
Yeah, I don't know why, but some people do. And this person decided, you know what? Let's put a Bitcoin value ticker on a Raspberry Pi with a teeny tiny little LCD display to show exactly how much it's worth, how much it's gone up, how much it's gone down. It's mostly going down nowadays, but hey. And yeah, that's all it does. It tracks the currency. You could use whichever API you prefer, but they do provide you with a URL that you could just plug into this, and it has a little progress bar at the top, and it updates, and then runs the progress bar again, updates again. It's a ticker. It's a financial ticker for magic internet money.
Listen, I think you did a very good job selling it. It ticks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting thing to do. I mean, I've seen projects like this that were like bandwidth monitors and stuff. It's in that same vein.
That's useful.
Yeah.
That is useful. Or if you want to have like a USB thing that you plug into your PC and it gives you a little readout, the Raspberry Pi will do that too. It's like system load, the process that's taking up like 100% of your CPU. You can have all of that on that very same hardware. It's just that this particular person decided, you know what? Let's see how much Bitcoin is worth on a
it would save me
basis.
time though, man, because the little thanks to everyone who's kicked in a couple of MBTCs. I think that's correct terms. I use it as an RNG seed.
Oh yeah, it's a very good hasher for like creating passwords off of.
Because I mean, when I check it, it's always different, man. Another piece of Pi-related news is makes me feel like we're living in the future that we should have had like a decade ago.
Oh yeah, this is something so awesome. This is PentaHub. PentaHub enables seamless remote Linux firmware updates over the air. Yay! Now you don't need to sneakernet your SD cards from your computer to your single board computers.
Sneakernet? You mean more like walk around the house and look where you left it?
Yeah. Well, now you don't have to, to image your flashcards for your Raspberry Pi. You don't have to take it out and go to your home computer and flash it and then bring it back again. You can remotely image your Raspbian OS on your Raspberry Pi's SD card to, say, Ubuntu 1910 or Android using the online PentaHub, Pentavisor, and PVR command line utilities. And what's really cool is I actually saw this demo at the OSS Summit in North America in San Diego this past August, and was really impressed by it. And it worked really well. I saw them do Raspbian to Ubuntu and then Raspbian to Android. So it was really amazing, and how quick it was too. So yeah, this is something I think someone should have thought about a long time ago, but I'm happy it's here.
Oh no, this is a brilliant vector to load malicious stuff on people's equipment.
And to your point there, Jill, someone already did think of this a long time ago. They're called Intel, and they have the management engine built into every single one of their CPUs that did just this.
Man, don't make me walk over there and slap the PSP out of your mouth.
Oh yeah, the PXE, the PXE networking. But I mean with the single board computers. Yeah.
It's another thing you get to disable.
Yep.
Then again, I mean, that's like what I brought up. That was always the joke. You're like, I got an IP address for something in the house. Don't know where it's at.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Raspberry
make it
Pi
beep?
made that real. That quit being a joke like 40 minutes after I got my first Pi. It's like, where did I leave that thing? So something like this could definitely be handy.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't lose Pis, but you put them to good use and you want to tell us about it. Huh?
Well, there is a very,
Yeah.
very easy way you can do it. There's even a little button called Contact on linuxgamecast.com that you click and it brings you to a form. You pick LWDW, fill out the form, and leave us your message. Tell us about your Pi projects. Tell us about something that we got wrong or something that you'd like us to expand on during the show. If you
Potato
have
pie.
created... Yes. If you have created something like really interesting, doesn't necessarily have to be Pi-based as long as there's
Why do
some
you gotta
Linux
set
to
the
it.
bar like that, man? Really? Come on. Like moderately, like, okay, I'll take a look at that.
Okay, something that's moderately interesting.
Born salesman, ladies and gentlemen.
Literally anything at all. Or if you just like to comment on something that we said during the show, like Oren decided to do this week, you can do that too. And yeah, he says, not to flex. I have more Twitter followers than Austin Pocus. Austin Pocus is the author of that quote-unquote article we covered last week about using Linux, yes. When has Pulse Audio / Pavu Control been hard for a basic to mid-advanced user who is not an audio engineer? I mean, heck, I first installed Pavu Control back in 2012 on my foray back to Linux on Linux Mint 13, and it was that easy then. If a complete dunce like me could do it back in 2012, it would be a cinch for someone who has used Linux for 15 years. Also, my first GNU Linux was Red Hat Linux 8.0 back in the late 2002. I've decided that I dislike Austin Pocus from now on. That's reasonable. I guess coming out of Orn, that is very reasonable.
Wow.
Very good, Oren.
It's just not us. Normally, I would shy away from something like that because we're like, oh, you're being mean on the internet again. I'm like, no, I'm just being honest. Don't confuse rudeness with honesty. But I think the rest of the internet read that and went, yeah, go ahead. Say what you need to say about that.
Yeah.
No one's going to discuss it. Nobody believe that, man. Come on.
No.
That would be like me trying to write a window. It's like, I'm going back to Linux after using Windows and be like, I found it amazing. No, don't take it away. It's like, no one's buying that. Come on. I did.
Yeah. It was clickbait to get views, I'm sure.
No. It wasn't written clever enough to do that.
No,
okay,
it wasn't.
yeah.
And if you actually look, there's very little in the way of comments. So clearly, we were probably the highest profile outlet that actually covered that particular article. So
Yeah.
Oh man, I hope you enjoyed 12, possibly 14 views then. Ladies and gentlemen, we gotta get out of here. So we're gonna roll some credits. Thanks everybody for shooping by.
Yay!
Can we do that? Shooping by?
Yay!
Shoop.
Shoe pie,
Happy
don't
Linux
bother me.
Wednesday. Venmints. Pedro.
Jill?
Call me by my Christian name, Jill. Jeez.
Okay, Venstone.
No,
Mateus.
Christian one.
Oh.
I thought that wasn't pronounceable in English.
Oh. Yay, producers and executive producers, you make this all happen.
Make the world go round.
love you.
Even though it was going
Yeah.
to do that anyway, it's all on you though.
Yeah.
Yep.
We love you.
Pedro's Red Yarn thanks you.
Row?
What?
Aw.
Doch noch mehr hau.
Oh, Pedro, that was a good point about Intel and their networking. Of course, yes. So it makes sense that we have an option now for single board.
Yeah. Like I read the article. It's like, oh, they're making their own management engine because that worked well.
Yes.
7 years ago today. Oh yes.
What?
The
wow.
Steam beta for Linux was 7 years ago. Yeah, it was 2012.
Can you-
yeah.
Can you... Wow.
I remember, well, Fuduntu was still a thing for one, and I had to reach out to Valve because we wanted to ship our own RPM with Steam. It's like, but can we though? So I was like, okay, to talk to Valve support, got a robot. Okay, can I talk to a human? This is a legal issue. I need to know this information. Got another robot. Please, I want to talk to a human about this. Then I got a human. It's like, yes, you can, but give me a moment.
Oh.
And I waited, and like 15 minutes later, I got another reply saying, okay, we're going to be updating our terms of service, but you can basically redistribute the client as long as you don't change anything that's in the runtime folder.
Ah.
As long as you don't touch the runtime folder, we're good. Okay.
Awesome.
Easy enough. Doesn't seem like it's been 7 years ago.
I know. This flew by.
It kind of does, because it's just a thing. I turn on my PC and I see the Steam window pop up. It's like, cool, yeah. I don't even think about it anymore. It's just there, so.
And that's it. It's because you're using Linux, man. My brain's still like, the hell?
Yeah.
How did we get here?
Yeah, I switched full-time to Linux in 2011. The end of 2011-ish.
That's good.
Yeah, I remember when the days when Steam was new and I would play with it in Windows, and I'm like, oh, I wonder.
Along with the
we'll
Steam
probably...
client shredder.
Yeah. We'll probably never get this on Linux. And wow, it happened. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't sully my hands with it on Windows. First, my only, I've never experienced Steam on Windows, not once.
Oh, well, I did when it was out in
Of course
beta,
you did.
and I played. Yeah, I had to play with it.
I didn't because I didn't have a copy of Windows.
Yeah, well, I did at school, so.
Why were you playing games at school, young lady?
Because I teach how to make games at school. So.
Didn't hear an answer.
Yeah, one of my early projects is I had my students make textures for Doom for DOS.
Oh yeah, Dungeons of Dreadmore, and basically every game that came out in the first, second, third, and fourth Humble Indie bundles. Then the fifth Steam for Linux was already a thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe the fourth too, but yeah.
Yeah, that's how I
I
originally
remember
played
it's like
Half-Life.
humble, putting out Linux native games. Like yes.
And I remember being so excited and running Portal and Wine for the first time.
Yeah, that was I think one of the first times I ran Steam because they just gave away Portal. I was like, oh,
Yeah, that was
get that added
the
to my
orange
account.
box. The orange box.
Well, they weren't giving it away with the orange box. You had to buy
No,
it.
Yeah, you had
that
to
was a
buy
part of
that.
the orange box.
Yeah.
That was a good game bundle. The orange box. You'd get Half-Life 2 and Episode 1 if you didn't already have them. Then you'd get Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Team Fortress 2,
Yeah.
Portal, Audio Surf, and
Yeah, Audio Surf,
The-
right? Still enjoy that
platformer.
bit. Yeah.
It's a
The
secret to
discus
get it
one?
on Steam now.
Yeah.
No, it's Half-Life 2D platformer.
Oh,
Codename Gordon.
okay.
Codename
Gordon.
Gordon. That's the one.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
And nowadays you can totally get it on. Feedorf.
Yeah.
You can totally get it on Steam by using. Oh yeah, Counter-Strike Source was in there too, but you got Counter-Strike Source if you got Half-Life 2. So yeah. Yeah, that was my first game on Steam. Was Half-Life 2 in 2005. I didn't buy it when it came out in 2004. I bought it like a bit later because money.
Yeah.
And it was Half-Life Lost Coast, which was like the fake HDR thing demo that they had. Counter-Strike Source.
Yeah, another project I used to do with my students is, as their homework, they had to play the Unreal and Doom, and I'd pick a couple different games they could play, and they had to go through and analyze it and write a paper on it and on how it was done, and so it was a good way to they love doing it.
That is the official licensed Feedorf logo.
Yes, there's the original. There's the Pedro original.
No, that's the Ven
No,
original.
that was Ven.
That's me.
That's Ven's original.
No,
yeah,
that was a
not
Jordan original.
Oh, it was Jordan. Okay.
No, I'm just saying how many things I can get you to agree to at this point.
Well, no, the
keep
Pedro
going.
one. No, the Pedro one. I know the logo on the Pedro one, so I thought
That's mine.
the one you put
That's
up.
not
This
Pedro's.
is yours. Yeah, I remember.
This is mine.
There's Pedro's. I remember, Ven. I was there.
I mean, it's shaped like a lowercase a, so yeah, just there.
I thought it
done.
was perfect when we were doing that story. That was awesome.
All right, beautiful people. Do we get anything else going on before we get out of here? I gotta bounce this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. I need to go make dinner.
Yeah.
Nope,
Yeah,
no one's
food.
signing off, so
Sounds like a plan. All
bye,
right,
everyone.
beautiful people.
Love you, everyone. Bye, Katana. Bye, Artheron. Bye, Mirror. Bye, Strider.